Something is going on with that sound today, ladies and gentlemen. I was like, what is going on over here? I know what's wrong. Boom. I know what's wrong. I had the page open, the YouTube page open, so it was about 10 seconds behind or so. How's everyone doing? Good. Let me get a one if you can hear me all right now. Something always has to happen with the technicals here, ladies and gentlemen. You know that is my go-to. Always have to mess something up. So happy Sunday to all of you. Nice to have you here today. And today I want to get your opinion, ladies and gentlemen, on what's going to happen during and after this conflict that we have going on in the Middle East. I'm not saying that it's being used specifically to usher in the new financial system, but I remembered an old phrase today that I heard a long time ago, and that is never let a good crisis go to waste. And we all know, at least if we're paying attention, that these United States, at least the federal government is, in our name, is indebted to about $39 trillion. I think it just passed 39 trillion. And that's not it. That's just the debt that we have, not counting the what is called unfounded liabilities, meaning promises that the government has made in our name, all right, because it is we that pay the price for these promises, that totals anywhere between 100 to 200 trillion dollars in addition to the $39 trillion debt that we are currently in. So is this conflict going to be used in order to usher in a new financial system? We see that all of the blocks are being put in place right now, as far as tokenization, as far as the US dollar having to be used in order to back up the token coins that are going to be used to back up all of the tokens that are issued by big banks. Before I continue, I have to go ahead and share with you something that, in a way, it's good for nutrient survival, and in a way, it's not good. So I got a call from Becky, I think it was on Friday, and she said, hey, I want to share with you something. It was a mistake that Nutrient Survival made on their part. So you all know that Nutrient Survival sells their product on Amazon as well. And what they did is they mislabeled or misscanned a product that they sent Amazon, and it is at a huge discount. I'm going to share that with you so that you can take advantage of it if you want, because this is the lowest prices you're ever going to see on this product. And it's this. It's actually one of my very favorite Nutrient Survival products. Now, it's the Nutrient Survival egg powder, all right? And this egg powder, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you that maybe never have had it, it tastes like eggs. That's one of the two things that are the best things about this powder, is that it tastes like eggs. But in addition to that, it's full of all the micronutrients that you need on an everyday basis. And look at the price, $39.99 per can. Now, they normally go for like $60 or more per can, but they misscanned it when they sent it to Amazon, and it is now selling for $39.99 until they run out of it. Because whatever batch they sent to Amazon, I think it's 1 or 2 pallets, it's got to be sold at that price. Because if it's not, then they have to ship it back to Nutrient Survival, which will end up costing them even more money than them taking the loss. So if you want to take advantage of it, you can either go to your own Amazon page, go ahead and type in Nutrient Survival egg powder, and 2 of them should pop up. One of them that's for like $60 and one of them that's for $40, like you see here. Pick the one that's for $40. If you want to support what I do, use my Amazon link. It's this one right here. I just put it up, and I also have it listed on the description of my videos. You click on that link and it'll take you right to it, and then you can click on the powder and get it if you want. I think it's a great deal. If I didn't have like a 5-year supply of this stuff already, then I'd be buying some more for sure, especially at that price. I even asked Becky, I was like, hey, I feel bad, telling people to buy it for so cheap, for that price. because it's not really cheap, you know, but it's cheap comparatively speaking to what everyone else is selling theirs for and what they normally sell it for. And she was like, no, you'd be doing us a favor because we want to run out of it as soon as possible because that's not the price that it's supposed to be. And we'll be taking on a loss if we actually have it shipped back to us. So there you go. Go ahead and take advantage of that if you like. And check this out, ladies and gentlemen, right before the live stream, look at what arrived at my front porch. I ended up getting some before you all bought it out. So if you didn't see the video where I reviewed this thing, man, great savings for a product that's just as good as that DAC ham. So go check that video out because I do a full review of it and I tell you exactly why it is that this is a much better deal. And I have another one of those reviews coming up on a different product where it's pretty much the exact same product, but it's almost half the price. So as soon as I feel like eating that specific item, I'll go ahead. I'll go ahead and do that video. Let's see. Hey, that's not bad. Also, it's probably a little bit different depending on where you are at in the States. In Virginia, Virginia says it's $38.77 with tax. Yeah, never let a good crisis go to waste, right? They sure as heck didn't let that good crisis go to waste. Let's see. Let's see. Okay, let's see. Yeah, you just checked Amazon. It's $58 where you're at, but use my link. My link takes you to that exact same one because right now they've got two postings. You see the posting at $39.99 was supposed to be a different product, but they scanned the eggs instead. All right, so just go check my link. It's going to take you right to it, to the correct one. That way you don't have to be looking around. All right. All right, see, Sherry, you received 4 of these guys today? Or 4 of the powdered eggs. Hey, that's great. Hey, that's a great deal. I mean, 6 cans, that's a great deal, and that's such a good price. Hey, you finally received your ion lights. That's great. I'm glad that they got those back orders out of the way. All right. I'm still waiting to receive the extra 2 that they said they were going to send me at no cost. And hey, ladies and gentlemen, I offered to pay for them, and they said, no, we'll go ahead and send you an extra 2 at no cost. So I'm not going to say no to that. Free is always good. Oh, Baby Ruth's birthday is today. Well, guess what, Baby Ruth? Then today is a great day. Happy birthday to you. And may the good Lord bless you with many more. That is awesome. Baby Ruth says that I'm going to change my name to Wrinkly Root. Oh, goodness gracious. Absolutely, ladies and gentlemen. This is a distraction that continues, that's going to continue to happen for a very long time. I stated once that if they got all of the names out there of everyone and all of the people that were proven to be actually guilty, all right, of participating in those nefarious acts would go to jail, that we would probably have a congressional crisis, that we would probably not have enough congressmen, congresswomen, etc., in the government to be able to run the government, which in a way would be a good thing. But as far as justice goes, we need to do it because we need to have justice. It doesn't matter who it is. I don't care who it is. If they did something wrong, then they should be paying the price for it. Goodness gracious, you know, God knows that those poor girls paid a heck of a price. And let's see, you guys want to say hi to Lulu? Lulu, here, come here. You want a treat? I got her a treat this time to see if she'll look at you guys. You want a treat? Come here. Look over here, up here. There you go. Is that good? These are her favorite treats. And I'll tell you what, these things smell good enough to almost eat. There you go. You're a good girl. Yeah, you are. That's it. One more. You're going to have to go fetch it. That way you get off the live stream, right? Go get it. Oh, you're going to have to get it. There you go. She's squeezing under the table over there. So I hope everyone's having a good weekend. We will own nothing. Well, you know what, ladies and gentlemen? Most people will own nothing. You know who those people are? The people that did not take this serious now and get prepared. I saw a few comments down there earlier in the live stream. Someone that said that they filled up their tank, They got some extra gas. Yeah, it may not last you through the entirety of the conflict, but at least you got it at a lower price and you didn't have to spend that extra money on it. All right. So getting prepared can be for short term or long term. Now, if you want to get prepared for long term, obviously we all know what we need on a daily basis. Okay. So if you already know what you need on a daily basis, just extend those things out. And once you have the things that you need on a daily basis, extend it out for, I don't know, weeks, months, preferably at least 1 year, then look, this will never go to zero. All right. Because we are going to be having a crisis. We're having a crisis right now with the dollar. Everyone thinks that the dollar is getting stronger, but in reality, it's not getting any stronger. Right? It's getting a lot weaker. The reason it seems like it's getting stronger is because all of the other currencies that we compare our dollar to, they're all getting weaker against the dollar, but the dollar is not getting weaker. Just through the process of inflation alone, the dollar gets weaker every single day and every single year. So the only thing that's going to save you beyond being prepared with those physical things that you need in order to survive on a day-to-day basis is to have some of your excess wealth put away. And of course, you all know this is a great time for me to shout out Alpha Omega Gold, right? If you're looking to get into having some of your excess wealth in gold and silver, go check them out. They're the sponsor of this channel. And I think they're a really good company. And I always have their link, #1, on the description of my videos, because a lot of people are in a catch-22. They maybe have an IRA or they maybe have all of this extra money, and that's a good thing, right? Those are first world problems. If you have extra money that you don't know what to do with before it gets eaten up by inflation, I'll give them a call, because in all reality, I believe that gold and silver, not only are they in the middle of what I would call a crash or a correction, but I believe that they've got lower to go. And that's going to be a great opportunity. So if you give them a call now and start talking to them now, hopefully by the time that silver and gold have bottomed out before they go back up, you can get in a position. But I'm not a financial advisor. You have to do what you're comfortable with doing. But all I can do is this. I can tell you with certainty is that the dollars that you're earning and whatever fiat currency you're earning, even if you don't live here in the United States, whatever fiat currency you're earning with your labor, your time, your skills, right, your capital, that fiat currency is only going to continue to go down in value. And like I said in the beginning of the live stream, I'm not saying that this conflict that we're having in the Middle East is being used specifically in order for not only the US government, but the governments of the world to usher in a new financial system. But they're not going to let this crisis go to waste. Like it's been said several times before, they're going to use it in order to try to save the financial system, at least in the US. And one thing you have to understand is that if the financial or monetary system in the US, if it fails, then the whole world is going to be in trouble, except for those countries that have positioned themselves in a way that if the dollar fails, it won't affect them. And believe it or not, there are a few countries like that. And we definitely don't want that to happen, because, you know, the loss of a currency due to hyperinflation or default, especially when it's a world reserve currency, it's not just going to affect that country. It won't just affect the US. And a lot of people will lose their lives, because the world runs on credit, and the US dollar is exactly that. It is credit. It is a note. You know, when you take out a car note or a house note, that's credit. You're taking out credit to get something. And when you get dollars, what you're being given is credit in hopes that you can use it to get something else with it. It doesn't have any value within itself like gold and silver does. This has value, right? This has the value within itself. It took capital to find this. It took capital, manpower, energy in order to mine it and turn it into what you see here, a pure silver coin, right? The dollar takes a little bit of ink, takes a very little bit of labor. I think it cost about 11 cents or 14 cents to print a $100 bill, something like that, right? So it doesn't really take capital. It doesn't take human labor. What it does is it takes away from you For every dollar that's created out of nothing, that takes away from you your capital, your human labor, your excess wealth. All right. So you need to get ready for what's coming. And I'm sure that most of the people that are here right now, most of you that are here, are ready or in the process of getting ready. But there is going to be a new financial system that comes about. It's just a matter of time. And are you going to be ready for that? And you have to ask yourselves, if you look back the last 100 years, 115 years or so, every time that there has been a shift in the monetary system, be it 1913, 1933, 1971, 2000, 2008, even as far as saying 2020, because during that time period, more money was printed. Well, not more money, but about 40 to 50% of all the money that ever existed since the foundation of this country was printed during that time period. All right. So that was a change in the definition of what the dollar is, meaning that the dollar from that day forward was different to everyone than what it was previously. And a good example of that is that a dollar from 2020 can probably buy you about 50 cents today of what it could buy you back then. So it's lost about 50% or so of its purchasing power just in the last 4 or 5 years or so. So the definition of the dollar will change once again. What do I think is going to happen? That's a good question, whoever asked that. First, I have to say, let me make sure that he's not making any wisecrack jokes before I put it up on the screen. I have to say hello to Mr. Tom. Mr. Tom is in the house. Hey, I am the one that told you. Are you really? I don't remember that, Mr. Tom. Stop trying to take credit for my Bristol ham. Mr. Tom, maybe you did, but I don't remember. But I believe you. Well, I hope you're stocked up on that Bristol ham, Mr. Tom, because, man, I'll tell you what, this is some tasty stuff. Now, I wouldn't recommend that you eat it all the time. And in all honesty, ladies and gentlemen, I probably go through one of these things, I would say maybe every 2 or 3 months, I'll take one of these out. Just like my Spam. My Spam, I maybe go through a can once a month or so of Spam. It's not something that I eat all the time, but you do want to be diversified in everything to include your food, especially if you have children. If you have children, I think that food diversity, if you have children, is more important than if you don't, right? Because there is something that is called food fatigue, and food fatigue is real. Meaning that, let's say, for example, you put away a whole bunch of rice and beans, and that's all you put away, rice and beans and salt, right? And you're like, okay, I can survive on this. If the end of the world comes, I can survive on rice and beans. Yes, you can if you eat it, if you can eat it, but our children are going to eat that on a permanent basis for months, right? Are they going to eat just rice and beans? They can get what is called as food fatigue, where they refuse to eat. And then, obviously nothing good comes from that. Right? A lot of people say, well, just put the food in front of them. They're hungry, they're going to eat it. Well, in some cases, it's not going to happen. Southern Yankee Prepper, how you doing? Good to see you. And by the way, towards the end of the live stream, because I do believe that the market doesn't open for about another 40 minutes or so, we'll take a quick look at the silver and gold market just to see what it does during the opening. During the opening pitch. All right, we'll see what it does if you want to stick around for that. But let's see here. Okay. All right. I'm working my way down. I'm going to go ahead and state a term that I had copyrighted. All right. I had this term copyrighted. Okay. I'm a little bit behind. All right. Let's see. Hey, that's a great idea there, Colorado Pack Rat Prepper. Yeah, you can subscribe, save some money, and then you can cancel it later. So go ahead, do that if you want. That's a good idea. Save a few bucks. And that's not going to hurt anyone, to tell you the truth. I've done that before. Let's see. Oh, and by the way, yeah, someone says something about using my link and search for it. If you use my link, it's going to be right there. You'll see that Nutrient Survival Eggs right there in front of you if you use my link. All right, so it'll be easy for you to find. If you don't, make sure that you choose the one that's $39.99, not $59.99, because 2 of them will come up. Hey, Tristan, if you haven't gotten yours like by this week, let's say like the middle of the week or so, why don't you go ahead and send me your order number, right? And how many you ordered, and I'll see if I can send it over to my contact and make sure that your order went out. Okay. I don't think they were estimating that so many people would buy those lights, which is a good thing, I think, that you all did, because I think those little lights are awesome. Look, hey, Loam 3733. Hey, Loam, you're the one that bought them all out. I actually went back on there like a day after I put up the video. I was like, let me give it a day, and if they're not sold out, I'll go ahead and get myself some more. But they were all gone. Hey, that's a good call, Stormy. Stormy says, I went and got 65 gallons of diesel for $4.60 a gallon. And 3 weeks later, it's about $2 more per gallon. That's crazy. You just saved yourself about $130, $125. So, and that's what I call actionable intel. And when I put up my news channels, I know they're not all that popular, but when I put them up, I try to provide you with something that's got actionable intel, meaning that, hey, this may not be like what's going on right now, but 2 or 3 weeks down the road, you may see this going on. So go ahead and prepare for that scenario happening in 2 or 3 weeks or so. All right. And, some people do, some people don't. That's fine. That's funny. XRP Queen, XRP. Hey, I'm going to get into XRP as soon as it gets below 50 cents. All right. Because we have started crypto winter. All right, for those of you that are not sure, some people think that Bitcoin is going to go back up to all-time highs. No, it's called a bear trap. Is what is happening. But if you know how to trade it, you'll be doing well, because it's going to probably go all the way up to about 80,000, maybe 85,000, and then it's going to continue in crypto winter. And I see Bitcoin this time around probably going down to like below 40,000. I would say below 40,000, no lower than about 25,000. But I think that's going to be around the bottom. And although I'm not a long-term crypto guy, like I don't believe in crypto long-term, because I believe that as soon as they started doing Bitcoin ETFs, just like they started doing gold ETFs back in 1975, I think that was the one thing that is going to corrupt Bitcoin, because now they get to make Bitcoin out of thin air, just like they were able to make gold out of thin air. And even though you're talking about XRP, Queen, it may not be Bitcoin, but Bitcoin, I consider Bitcoin as being like the reserve currency of crypto. It's like the king, right? And whenever Bitcoin goes up, everything goes up with it. When it goes down, everything goes down with it. Not all the time, but you know what I mean. All right, so, but I will get into a little bit of XRP here once it probably gets below 50 cents each, because I believe that eventually XRP will probably be in the teens, if not 20s. I know some people have said it'll be in the hundreds and stuff, but if I get into it for 50, 40 cents a piece or something like that, and it goes up to $15, I'll be pretty happy with that. I'm not doing it to get rich. I'm just doing it so that I can make a little more fiat currency so that I can buy some more hard assets. Because hard assets, it's where it's at. Oh man, you got 6 cowtails. Oh man, I'm not sure if you saw my video that I put up. I think it was on Friday. I went to Walmart. Oh my goodness. Ladies and gentlemen, every time that I go to Walmart for whatever it is, right, I don't go there very often at all. I think that when I went to Walmart, I think it was on Friday or Thursday, something like that. When I went there, I hadn't been there in probably like 6 months. So I usually go there if there's something that I need to get in a quick hurry, and it's not something that I want to buy 50 pounds of, like at Costco, right? So anyways, I went to Walmart, and I just started looking around, and the prices are crazy. I really don't know how people are surviving. And I even came across something that I talked about years ago. Once I started seeing those, you know, the little soda pops, the little soda cans that they're like 7 ounces or something like that. Once I started seeing those, I remember telling someone, I said, one day, everything's going to be like that. One day we're going to be buying everything in small sizes like that. And it's starting to expand. The shrinkflation is starting to expand. And on that video, I showed you a can of corn and several different cans of vegetables that they were selling there that are literally half the size of bigger ones, but have the same price, if not a higher price, than what the big ones used to be. So, yep, that one day I think that's what we'll see. We'll see a lot of things a lot cheap, not a lot cheaper, but a lot smaller, but at the same price that we're used to paying today. And that's because we have a failing currency. We have a failing fiat currency. It's all attached to the money, ladies and gentlemen. Even though I know fiat currency is not money, that's what most people call it. It's money. All right, let's bring it down a little bit. Warrior 21 says, Buenos dias from behind the lines in North California. Hey, California's someone in California, one of their representatives, I believe, is trying to pass the voter ID, some kind of a voter ID, which is, I think it's a good thing. Let's see. We're bringing it down. Okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I wanted to do something a little bit of fun today. I thought that maybe we would go over some posts that I saved that are pretty interesting. But before I do that, before I take this off the screen, let me go ahead and share with you again. For those of you that weren't here, take a look at the link that I left on my, that's on the description of my videos, my Amazon link. And if you are in the market to get any powdered eggs, Nutrient Survival powdered eggs, use that link and it's going to come right up. They are not really on sale. It was a mistake that Nutrient Survival made. And right now they're being sold for $39.99, depending what state you live in and taxes and all that kind of stuff. All right, until they run out. Once they run out at that price, that's it. They're just the regular price of like 60 bucks. So take advantage of that, ladies and gentlemen. Whether you use my link or not, it doesn't matter. You can still get to it. All right, and stock up on these because these are the very best powdered eggs that I've ever had. They really are. Let's see here. Let's see. Okay, let me make sure I didn't miss anything. If you don't have any questions or anything you want to share with everyone, put it in all caps because today we are limited to 1 hour. Little Miss Alaska Prepper's coming over today, and we're going to watch a movie and eat some steaks. Hey, Trucker Hersey's in the house. How you doing, brother? It's good to see you here. I hope you're doing well. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and have a little bit of fun and take a look at some of these posts because I was looking at them before and they look pretty interesting. Let me see. So, how do you share screen with this? Okay, I'm going to get this here real quick. Boom. Boom. And by the way, for those of you that don't know, I do have an X account and I just use it for this. So if you want to follow me on there, I repost a few things that I think are interesting. And I also put my videos up on here as well. So I went ahead and tagged a few things. And this first thing that I tagged right here, I want you to take a look at this. For those that don't think that we are towards the end of this monetary system, take a look at this. The cost of home ownership all the way back in 1990. And in 1990, and this is pretty accurate because I remember I bought my first house, I believe was around 1996, and I paid around 72 grand for it. But right here, the median home price in 1990 was $96,000. And in 2025, go ahead and multiply that times 4.5 or so, $418,000. Right now, from 1990 to today, if I remember 1990, I was actually making pretty good money. I was working at a dairy plant, and well, not 1990, around 1994 or so. I was working at a dairy plant, and I was making about 16, 17 bucks an hour. back then. And believe it or not, that was enough to mortgage a $72,000, $78,000 house, right? But today, that same house, or the median house cost in the US, is $418,000. Well, anyone that was working in 1994, 95, making, let's say, 15 bucks an hour, do you think they're making $60 an hour now doing that same work? I guarantee you that if I go back to that plant that I was working in back there, making like 17 bucks an hour, I guarantee you that they're not being paid $64, 60 plus dollars an hour, $68 an hour. They're not. So the cost of home ownership has quadrupled, or more than quadrupled, but salaries haven't. And that is a circumstance, of course, I'll keep saying it because it's true and people need to understand this. That is a circumstance of a failing fiat currency, meaning that inflation, the government has no choice but to continue to inflate the monetary supply, because they cannot collect enough taxes in order to spend what it is that they need to spend, or what they see as what they need to spend. So our monetary system, our fiat currency, is failing, right? The median household income back there was $34,000. And there you go. That's about right. I was making around 17 bucks an hour. That's about $34,000 a year, right? And today the median home income, or median household income, is $85,000. So although the price of a home has gone up 4x plus, the median household income has only gone up less than 3 times. Right, so definitely not keeping up with inflation. Price to income ratio 3.1, 4.9. Typical down payment back then was $8,200, and now the typical down payment is $41,800, which comes out to be roughly half of a year's pay, right, before taxes. Let's see, years to save for down payment back then was 3 years. Today, it's almost 10 years. And this is a big one. The age of first-time home ownership back then was around 30 years old. And now it's 40 years old, which is huge, because it means that if you take out a 30-year mortgage, right, you're looking at being 70 years old by the time that you pay that off, right? And most people won't even be able to pay it off because of whatever circumstance may occur in their lives. So that's huge right there. Let's take a look. I don't know about you guys. Let me know if you all like looking through these things. Let me know if you all like looking through these, because if you do, I'll continue to do it, during our live streams. But if not, then I won't put you through the headache or through the pain, right? Let me see if I can make this a little bit bigger. There you go. That's probably a little bit better. Let me see. One more, maybe? Yeah. Okay, now listen to this right here. The CME will take this opportunity, and this is what I've been talking about for a while, okay? So those of you that have purchased silver in the 60s, 70s, 80s, even 100, this is my opinion, okay? This is my opinion alone, so I'm not giving you advice. You have nothing to worry about if you're holding it for the right reasons. If you're holding it because you wanted to make a couple $1,000 in 6 months, to me, that's not the right reasons. To me, holding silver, holding gold, holding real hard assets is something that you do for your own personal security and for the long term. Meaning that I would not put the money that I needed to pay my rent into this, knowing that I was going to need that money in the next 6 months. I wouldn't do it. I would just leave it in savings, because I know I was going to spend it in 6 months. But if I know that I want to take my excess wealth, all right, all of the wealth that I have sitting in a bank, all right, that's just earning 0.1% interest a year, if I wanted to take that excess wealth and ensure that it did not get burnt away by inflation, then I would go ahead and put it in something that's hard. But listen to this. The CME will take this opportunity to dump silver into the 50s next week on the guise of oil going up. And they may very well do that. And if they do, what I would consider that a gift to people that know what hard assets like gold and silver really are, which is a mechanism by which you can protect your purchasing power in the long term. He continues to say they will be getting the price of silver as low as possible before they cash settle force majeure 550 ounces of open interest in the next 2 weeks, which means that in the next 2 weeks, they have 550 ounces of silver that is going to stand for delivery. Now, they don't have 550 ounces of silver, right, in physical, in order to give to those that are standing for delivery. So the lower that they get the price of silver, the less fiat currency that they have to give them via force majeure, meaning that they don't have the physical. So that to me is a pretty valid point, but only time will tell, and we will find out here pretty soon whether that plays out. The one thing that I think will play out, and I will show you all in the charts here towards the end of the live stream here in about, what time is it? In about another 20 minutes or so, I'll show you in the charts. What I do think that it will play out is that silver and gold both will eventually have to retest their 200-day moving average. And in a way, that's a good thing. It's a good thing for two reasons. Number one is because every major bull market in gold and silver, they've come back down to test the 200-day moving average or very close to it, right? Before they went and took off to their real new price discovery. And that hasn't happened with silver yet, nor has it happened with gold. So we need to be able to test that line. And then after that, we may consolidate for a little bit, but it will definitely, in my opinion, be going up to the moon here in the next 2-3. By 2030, for sure, I would put gold at 10,000 or more, and I would put silver, I don't know, if I had to guess, silver over $400 an ounce, I would put silver. But that's just me, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see. Wall Street Gold says the West sells gold on fear, and China is buying the discount. Today in China, sales open at 9 a.m. And by 9:01, ladies and gentlemen, 1 minute into the market opening in China, 600 kilograms of gold was gone, was sold. Gold crashed in Western markets and Chinese buyers did not flinch. Now they're talking about yesterday. So yesterday, when the markets, or is this on, I think this was on Friday. When the markets open, they snatched the gold up right away as we in the West are selling it out of fear. And those people that are selling their gold and silver out of fear, in a way, it's a good thing. It's called shaking out the leaves. It's called shaking those out, shaking out those weak hands, people that were not collecting or stacking gold and silver for the right reasons, right? Greed is a terrible thing. Right. So if you're stacking it because you're greedy, you're more than likely going to be scared out of the market whenever there's a big correction like we're experiencing right now. Let's see. I promise these are not all about gold and silver. It's just the order that they came up in. Let's see. China is printing trillions to buy assets while the Western banks are currently short 4.4 billion ounces or 550% of annual silver production. So right now, the Western banks are shorting silver. This tells me that silver, the price of silver, is going to go down. But you have to ask yourselves one question. Have the fundamentals of gold and silver changed? Has the fact that in the last 5 years, we've had more than 1 billion ounces of silver in deficits, and that we're expecting to have a deficit this year and to the years to come projected? That hasn't changed. Has the fact and the fundamental of silver being the second most used commodity in the world, ladies and gentlemen, has that changed? The first most used commodity in the world is oil, right? The second most used commodity in the world is silver. Without silver, we go back to the Stone Age, or at least back to the early 1900s. Right? That hasn't changed. What's been changing in silver lately? The price. Why is that? Well, I just told you, the big bankers in the West are shorting it, trying to bring the prices down. And in my opinion, they're wanting to bring those prices down so that they can get out of their contracts and not have to pay as much money on margin as they would have to otherwise, but also so that they can stack even more. So as they bring the price down and people get scared out of their physical holdings, you better believe that they're scooping up those physical ounces on the cheap because they know exactly what they have. And this one here, I'm not going to go ahead and put the first two comments here, but this is pretty interesting. And this is This is one of those, you all know when I talk to you about the secondary, tertiary effects of things. Well, one of the secondary and tertiary effects of this conflict that's going on in in the Middle East is this right here. I'll tell you what the tertiary effect will be, but this is one of the secondary effects. The Agricultural Secretary just confirmed publicly 1 in 4 American farmers have no fertilizers secure for spring planting. All right. And why is that? Well, the Straits of Hormuz is closed, and fertilizer, a large component of how fertilizer is made, is oil, and I do believe natural gas as well. All right. No fertilizer, no crops, no food. So this is our first order of effects. Our second order of effects is no fertilizer. Our tertiary order of effects of what's going on in the Middle East right now is no crops. If we don't have fertilizer, we're not going to have crops, or at least not enough crops to feed everyone, right? Meaning what? The price of food is going to escalate, right? And then the third one, no food. But no food for who? No food for those that cannot afford it. So in the United States, if this plays out, it doesn't mean necessarily that people are going to starve. No, that's not what it means. It means that your food that you buy now is going to be a lot more expensive than what you're used to paying. So your standard of living is going to be reduced. Farm bankruptcies in 2025 were up 46%. And that's before this stuff started. 160,000 farms closed since 2017. Whereas back in the early 1900s, about 95 to 97% of all Americans had a farm, right? That's what they did for a living. They farmed, right? Now it's only about 3 to 2% of Americans that farm, and farms are closing down all the time, every year, right? And bigger corporations are taking over. And unfortunately, you know what comes with that? You know, the junk food, the processed foods, all that stuff that we know is not good for us, and other countries actually ban in their country because it's not good for them, right? Let's see. Less than half of all farmers will even turn a profit this year. Less than half of farmers will turn a profit this year. They're not struggling. They're being wiped out. I have to agree with that. And the media is busy covering everything else. Well, it's because they don't want us to know. They don't want us to know what's really going on. And that's why, ladies and gentlemen, let me take this opportunity to say, the reason the media doesn't tell you what you should really know is because they are following an agenda that's been scripted for them, right? And that's why I tell you, support your human creators. Support people that are not being paid by multi-billion-dollar corporations to tell you what they want you to hear. Support people that, although not perfect, because I'm not perfect and nobody really is, but you know what I mean, although not perfect or put out to be perfect, like AI, mainstream media, laymen, support laymen that are out here telling you what they see. Why is that? Not because I want you to believe what I tell you, but because I'm hoping that it will fire something up in you so that you can go do your own research and become better prepared. Because that's what it's all about. It's about being prepared for what's to come, right? But make sure that you enjoy your life too. Make sure that you do stuff that gives your life meaning, that you enjoy doing. Because if not, then what's it all for? Okay. Okay, let's see. Hey, give me a few minutes. What time is it? Okay, I got about 10 minutes. I'm going to spend about 5 more minutes on my posts, and then I'll go to a few questions. So if you have any questions that you want to ask, ladies and gentlemen, go ahead and wait until I'm done with the posts here, and then I'll scan through them really quick, and then we'll take the last 5 minutes of the live stream and just take a quick look at the gold and silver market. Okay, let's see. Let's go ahead and look at this. I don't know what this says right here. I don't remember, but let's see. Is this Henry Kissinger? Yeah. Old Henry Kissinger, old petrodollar Henry Kissinger, who controls the food supply, controls the people, who controls the energy, can control whole countries, and who controls the money can control the world. And that's what it's all about. And why do you think that Nixon sent him over to Saudi Arabia back in 1974 in order to secure the future of the petrodollar? Because he knew and they knew that a fiat currency, which was in turn used to be the reserve currency of the world, would make the country that governs it, it would make them more powerful than any other country. Because if everyone needs your, I'll say money, all right, instead of saying fiat currency, because most people know it as money, if everyone needs your money, ladies and gentlemen, then you have the power. It's like you're the boss, right? And that's how it's been for the last 50 years. Okay. All right, we already went through that real quick there. All right, let's see what this one says. I don't remember what this one says, but it says here, we went to Nebraska. The beef crisis will shock you. Ground beef prices are up nearly 13%, but American cattle ranchers told us that they just took a $17 billion hit. And every year, nearly 20,000 family farms disappear. And that's true. And it's big corporations, you know. We have a beef industry here in the United States, or a meat industry that's run by, I believe, only like 4 or 5 major companies, right? And the small ranchers and small farmers, they're going out. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to require a reset, right? We are going to require a new paradigm shift, and that paradigm shift is coming. And why do you tell us to prepare then, AP, if that paradigm shift is coming? Because before a new paradigm arrives, before we get to the spring, we have to get through the winter. And the winter is the time of crises, right? The winter part of a human life, right? That turning of a human life cycle is the crises turning. And that's what we are in the middle of. But the thing is, it's not over yet. It still has several years to go. I would say about another 5 to 7 years left before we shift over to spring. So we have to make it through that, right? Because the world's not going to end, ladies and gentlemen, in the next 5, 7 years. It's not going to end, all right? And if it does end, fine. At least you were prepared, and God decided to take us, and that's it. Fine, all right? No harm, no foul. But if you're not prepared, you're going to suffer a great deal more than those who are. So why not prepare? Especially if you have a family, especially if you have children, if you have grandchildren. Stay prepared, if not for yourself, for them. Let's see right here. Yeah, we already went through this. The majority of the world's fertilizer comes from, are you ready? Russia, China, and Iran. It's going to be a tough year. Get prepped up, ladies and gentlemen. Go and get your Bristol hams. All right. Go and get your nutrient survival egg powder. Go and get your 55-pound or 50-pound bag of rice. You can take a 50-pound bag of rice and leave it in its original container and put it in a corner somewhere that's dry, that's not really hot, that's not infested with pests, insects. That'll last at least a year, if not longer, just sitting there, okay? If you want to take it one step further, go ahead and divide it up into food saver bags and vacuum seal them. And it'll last years, even if you don't put an oxygen absorber in there, okay? So go ahead. And there's no reason why you shouldn't do that. Same thing with beans. Take your beans. If you want to be extra careful, take your rice. If you're not going to put an oxygen absorber in there, take it, put it in the freezer, then take it out of the freezer, let it come to room temperature, and then go ahead and package it up individually or leave it in the bag. It will last a very long time just on its own. And I'm just saying rice to say rice, but you can do it with wheat berries. You can do it with beans. You can do it with any type of legumes pretty much that are not moist, that are not a wet kind of a legume. So get your stuff now, because number one, you're not going to find it any cheaper 2 or 3 years from now, right? And hopefully you'll still be able to find it. I know I'm Chicken Little, all right? I know I'm Chicken Little, right? That's what a lot of people like to call me. But eventually you're going to be very happy that you got prepared ahead of time, because you're going to see the suffering that goes on when we're in the middle of this stuff. You're going to see the suffering that goes on, and you're going to be in a position where you can help someone instead of being the one that's asking for help. And I didn't know this about while wiping out Nebraska's agriculture with over 1 million acres burned. right before summer. I didn't know that this was going on in Nebraska. That's really too bad. All right. Let's see this. I don't know if I tab this because it's funny or what. Yeah, whatever. I don't like to take political, really. Okay, maybe this is why food commodity prices are rising. Not a good idea. So look at corn rising, soybean, even though soybean's the devil, oats rising. Let's see, soybean meal rising, and that's what's used to feed chickens and stuff. Rice, soybeans, canola, wheat. These are the things that are used to make the foods that are on the shelves. Okay, I think it's about time for me to take a few questions from you all. All right, let's get this out of the way. All right, so if you have any questions, ladies and gentlemen, a few minutes on this, I'll see if I can answer it. I'll do my best to answer it. Let's see. I am not going to be growing any food this year. This summer, I have plans for this summer, and I'll fill you in on those once the time comes. But this year, I won't have a garden of any kind. If I have anything, maybe I'll get a tomato plant or so. All right, but it's for good reason. Let's see, what else we get? Oh, this is a great comment. You should have put this in all caps because I have a great answer for you, user. User, I hope you're still here. How old is this? Only 3 minutes old. I hope you're still here. So user XO says, I'm confused with all the things that I need. You already know what you need. And for anyone here that's somewhat new to preparedness, let me tell you how easy it is. You already know everything that you need to stock up on. And this is what I used to tell people a long time ago, and I'll do it again because I think it's very useful. When you wake up tomorrow, take yourself a piece of paper and a pen or a pencil. And the first thing you do, you write it down. So for example, I wake up, of course, after you relieve yourself, I wake up, I go brush my teeth. All right, guess what? What's involved in that? Toothpaste, all right, floss. If you use it, write it down. You don't have to write a paragraph of why you use it, but you get up, you use it, toothpaste, floss, beautiful, right? Then what? Second thing I do, ladies and gentlemen, every single day, and I'm not ashamed to say it, coffee. I make coffee. What do I need for coffee? Obviously, you need coffee grounds or coffee beans, however you make it, and I use a coffee filter, okay, and water. So you put coffee filters. All right. Do you use cream or do you use, I use a little bit of, what do you call it? Stevia powder on mine. Whatever you use, if you do coffee, do coffee. If you do tea, whatever. Right? Are you going to eat breakfast? If you eat breakfast, what do you normally eat for breakfast? Write it down. And you do that for one day. And you know exactly what it is that you need to have. Right? You need to have those things. All right. Preparedness is not about the end of the world. Right? Preparedness is about you putting away in excess those things that you need in order for you to continue to live the same standard of living that you need now. For example, during the beginning of this live stream, someone said that last week or a couple of weeks ago, they went out and bought 65 gallons of diesel. They were prepping with what? With something that they knew they were going to use, but they also had a pretty darn good feeling that if they waited long, they were going to pay a lot more. And what ended up happening? By doing that, that person ended up saving about 125, 130 bucks compared to what they would have had to pay today if they would have bought their diesel today, right? That's what preparedness is for. It's something that you do, put away in excess those things that you use on a daily basis that will allow you to maintain the same standard of living should you not be able to get it because it's not available or because it's too expensive. Very simple. All right. So I always say with food, always start with those things that you already eat. All right. Yes, I think that nutrient survival powdered eggs are the best that there is. Always the best. But start with the things that you already eat. Fill up your pantry. Get yourself a working pantry that's 1 to 2 months deep. Then after that, start putting away some long-term storage. get more canned goods that will last pretty much indefinitely, according to the USDA. And the oldest can of meat that I've eaten thus far is 12 years old, right? So if you didn't see that video, go watch my video where I compared the DAC ham to this, because that can of DAC ham was 12 years old. And I'm here talking to you. And it was very tasty, by the way. All right. And then you can put away some long-term food storage in bulk. All right. So you can go buy 50-pound bag of rice, 50-pound bag of beans, whatever. Put it away in bulk. All right. And I've got videos on how to do all that kind of stuff, ladies and gentlemen, especially if you're new here. And it's not rocket science. It's not rocket science, and you don't need any fancy equipment. All right. Hey, look at that. Big Bad John, how you doing, brother? Good to see you. Yeah, go and look at that. I just talked about that. So if you are new, if you're new here, or if you're new to prepping, go check out my videos, Alaska Prepper Payday Preps and Prepping on the Cheap videos. Those Prepping on the Cheap videos, I go over things that you can get that are like off-brand items, but they're just as good as the items that you paid 3, 4, 5 times more for. Right. And the payday preps are videos that I used to do when I started prepping really with you all here. Every time I got paid, I would go and take a little bit of money from my paycheck, and I would go and do as much as I could with that budget to prep as much as I could. Right. So Prepping on the Cheap and Alaska Prepper Payday Preps. I'm a boring person, ladies and gentlemen. All right. But the information that I try to give you, especially on those videos, is information that's going to help you get prepared without you having to break the bank. And that's what it's all about. All right. Hey, let me get a 1 if you want me to go over the silver and gold market as it opens, all right? Because we're only going to go over for a few minutes. Yeah, absolutely. Look, if you can barter, if you can garden, gardening is great. Not only is it better for you than the stuff you buy at the store, but it's a lot cheaper, right? All it does is takes a little bit of elbow grease, a little bit of your time. But not only that, it's very valuable for you to be able to learn how to do it. Maybe it'll take 2 or 3 seasons before you can learn the ins and outs of little particulars that you need to know about gardening. But once you know how to do it, ladies and gentlemen, you don't have to relearn it. It's something that you can carry with you, and you'll know that if you put away a few seeds, you'll know that you'll be able to turn those seeds into food from the knowledge that you've gained. What's the best brand of apple pectin? I cannot answer that. If someone can answer that, go ahead and leave it in the chats in all caps, because I really I stopped making jams and stuff like that when I found out I was diabetic. So I haven't made any more jams, and I won't, because I don't use it. Okay. I used to use the powder pectin that they sell in the little boxes. Absolutely, fill in your gaps. There's no reason why not to get your gaps filled in now, because I believe that things are going to get a lot more expensive than they are now, right? They have to, okay? They have to get more expensive. Hello, Helen. Good to see you. All right, you all want to take a look at the charts real quick, so we can do that. And the market's about to open here in about 2 minutes. So we're not going to be able to spend too much time on this, because Little Miss Alaska Prepper is on her way. But I definitely have some time, and I love looking at the charts. It's one of the things I enjoy doing. So let's see here. Share screen. Boom. Where are we at? This one right here. And it doesn't look like it's open yet. Let's see. This is silver. No, this is gold right here. Let's just bring this. And what time is it? It should be opening up here in about the next minute or two. Let's go ahead and get this out of here. But I can play around with this for a minute or two if you like. So if you take a look right here, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you that are not very familiar with this, if you take a look at this, this is the 200-day moving average right here, okay? And as you can see, gold has dropped to $4,491. It's right under the $4,500 mark. Now, what's the likelihood of it dropping more? I think that eventually it's going to come down and test this $4,000. It's going to come down and test this 200-day moving average. And in my opinion, that would be a very healthy thing, because take a look at this. Take a look at this, ladies and gentlemen. Ever since gold right here, back in December of 23, ever since gold broke out and started going up, it has not touched the 200-day moving average. It hasn't touched it once. So it needs to come back and touch this. That's very healthy for a market. Okay, so I believe that it needs to touch it. And look at that, gold just opened. The market just opened, and gold opened up with a green candle, meaning that it went up some. And what did it go up? Let's see. It opened at 44.68, and it's currently at 44.86.87. So it's going up a little bit. And like I said, I think it's definitely going to touch this eventually. It's going to have to come back down and touch it. But then after that, it's going to go up to the moon. All right, up to the moon. And hopefully, when it does start going back up, it won't go straight up. Hopefully, it'll take its time going up, right? But it is going to go up in a long way. I mean, look at this. Take a look at this. Let me just show you the last several years. Look. How far can we go? I mean, take a look at 2021 right here, right? What's the trend? The trend is definitely up. The trend is definitely going up. Okay, even if gold drops all the way down to 4,000, the trend is still on an upward trajectory. So gold has only one way to go, especially if the government continues to print like they've been printing for all these years. All right, let's go take a quick look at silver. Let's see what silver's looking like. Boom. Oh my goodness. Oh no, silver hasn't opened yet. Oh, this is kind of confusing. The silver market is not showing anything, but the gold market is. You see this right here? The gold market says that it opened, actually that it opened about an hour ago. Oh, I think I know what happened to silver. I think silver's on a hold. Let's see what's going on here. What is this? No, this is still showing Fridays. There should be a candle that started right here. There should be a new candle right here. So I don't know what's going on with silver. That's very interesting, ladies and gentlemen. More reason why I believe people ought to be holding silver is because silver will find its true price discovery eventually. But let me show you what I think may happen with silver if you're interested. This is what I think may happen. All right. So silver, let me get this line. I should have drawn these lines ahead of time. Okay, boom, roughly. All right, I'm just giving you roughlies right here, okay? If you take this little triangle here, or this wedge, whatever you want to call it, this is also a bear flag. But if we take that and we take about around the thickest part of the wedge right there, and we bring it down here where it broke the wedge, this is where I see silver going to, right around here, right around $62. But since it's so close to that 200-day moving average, I think it'll hit the 200-day moving average. So I think silver will be hitting this 200-day moving average around $57 or so, and it may even dip a little lower. But let me show you the same thing I showed you with gold on silver. Look at silver. Silver has not touched that 200-day moving average for almost a year. For about a year. And look at all of that upward movement. Look at all this upward movement, and it still hasn't, it never retested that 200-day moving average. I believe that it retesting that 200-day moving average will be very, very good for the long term. Okay. And I don't know why silver hasn't opened yet. Let me take a quick look. Let me take a quick look on X. Let's see. I'm going to take a quick look on X, ladies and gentlemen. while you're all, let me see. Yeah, I'm going to have to get off here in a little bit. Well, let me see. Home. Okay. I don't see any news on this. Yeah, China's currently pulling silver from the global market just to satisfy their internal demand. I still think that silver is going to be the biggest story of this year, even with that stuff going on in Iran. I still think it is because that's going to affect every single person in the world for years to come. This energy crisis that we're having now, or that countries are starting to have, that's going to come and go. All right, that's going to come and go. Eventually, we'll get back up to full production, full mobility, around the Hormuz, all that kind of stuff. But silver, ladies and gentlemen, that this is going to last for years. The effects is going to last for years, maybe a generation or two or more. Man, all right. I don't see anything that says what's going on with silver right now. Let me take another quick look before I okay, silver just opened. Here it is. Okay. Here's silver. Silver just opened. So both gold and silver opened up a little higher today. Silver right now is trading at $68. So it's got a little bit of an uptrend right now. It's got a little green candle going. And it has actually supposedly has been trading for an hour already. Maybe the time change made it that it's started trading at 1 p.m. my time instead of 2 p.m., which is normally when it starts. But there you go. Silver's on the uptick. But you all know how quick that can change. It can change very fast. All right. Well, hey, I think that's going to be about it. Let me just see one last one right here. Okay. Get some moringa. I don't have any moringa. Amen, Juliet. And man, I'm not sure how many of you saw the video that I did about when I went to Walmart, but oh my goodness, that coffee, the Café Bustelo that I use. Funny story for any of you that haven't been here for years, that haven't been here for a long time now. But a few years back, several years back, I remember telling you all how much I like the Café Bustelo right there, right? And you all started sending me that coffee. And it got to the point where I was like, hey, stop sending me that coffee. I've already got, a whole bunch. I must have gotten at least 2 dozen or 3 dozen packs that you all sent me individually, through the mail. And I had to tell you all, stop sending me that coffee. I've got enough already for years. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm so glad that you sent me that coffee because I'm still drinking on that coffee. And a lot of that coffee that you all sent me, the best buy date was like 2021. And that coffee is still good. Now, if you want to put away this kind of coffee, Café Bustelo, if you want to put it away for the long term, don't buy it in the can, right? Buy it in the small retort packages that are vacuum sealed because that will last pretty much. Well, I can tell you right now, I'm drinking coffee right now that the best buy date was 2021 and it's still absolutely good. Nothing wrong with it whatsoever. And they came in the little square retort packages. So thank you to all of you that sent me some of that coffee because I'm drinking it right now. And that coffee now at Walmart is $7 and change for a small 10-ounce pack, the little squares, $7 and change. I'm already starting to wonder, what am I going to do when I run out of all that coffee? By that time, they'll probably be like $10 and change. So you know what I'm going to do is the next time that I see any kind of a sale in that kind of a coffee, I'm going to buy it up and just put it away because I already know that it's going to last a very long time on the shelf. Okay. Yeah, you remember that? It used to be like $1.99, and yeah, you used to be able to get it on sale for like $1.50, and now it's $7 and change. Yeah, Helen, you're 100% correct, and I agree with you. I believe we all will be okay. All right. Some people thought that COVID was the end of the world. It was not. Things got a lot more expensive. Unfortunately, the government did what governments do best. They spent a lot of money and they became a little more draconian and tyrannical towards us. But in the end, things will be all right. But they're going to be a lot better off for those of you that are prepared for those things that may be in shortages later on. All right. And for anything really, all right, you'll be a lot better off. All right. Maybe you can help your neighbor who maybe didn't take the time or couldn't prepare. But we will be all right in the end. I believe we are going to be hitting some really hard times in the next several years. I really do. And the main reason why I believe that is because I believe that we are in the middle of a paradigm change that is going to be initiated by the financial system changing from one to another. What exactly that change will be, to me, it doesn't matter. What matters is that every other time that it's happened in the history of the United States, at least, it's always been the working people, the middle class, the working poor that have suffered the most, where they lost many, if not all of their assets. Those that put themselves in a place where they could preserve their wealth were able to retain their assets, or at the very minimum, they were able to eat and have a roof over their head. Let's see. Nishka, how you doing, Nishka? It's good to see you. AP, do you still have your PO? I have a different one, but I did list the address, my new address. It's in the description of my videos, so you'll see them down there. Hopefully, don't look at it in the description of this video. Just like go to my last video and look at the description, and it's down there. It's an actual physical address that I have a box in. All right. It's like a UPS store, but it has a physical address. That's the box where I get anything at if you want to send something. Now that you have to. All right. Well, that's going to be it, ladies and gentlemen. I want to thank you very much for joining in. All right. Again, for those of you that didn't come in till now, let me go ahead and show this off one more time because I think that this is such a great deal. All right. This is just a very good deal. So let me show you real quick. If you've already seen this, you can probably sign off. But Nutrient Survival right now, if you use the link under the description of this video, my Amazon link, you will see this pop up, right? And Nutrient Survival eggs, they made a mistake and priced them at $39.99. So if you go to Amazon and you type in Nutrient Survival powdered eggs, you're going to get one that comes up at $59.99. All right. If you use my Amazon link, you're going to see this one pop up at $39.99. That is the best price you will ever see. And the only reason it's priced this low is because they made a mistake and they can't take it back. So go check that out. And if you're in the market to get some of that stuff, go ahead and take advantage of it because I think it's a great deal. All right. Have a great rest of your weekend, ladies and gentlemen. Have a great week ahead. Tomorrow, I should have a video out tomorrow morning or tomorrow afternoon on whatever it is that I discovered that I want to talk about. But I will have a video out tomorrow, early afternoon or tomorrow morning, depending where you are in the States. So God bless every one of you. I love you all. Thank you very much for hanging out for an hour or so. I hope that you stay safe. Baby Root, happy birthday once again. All right. God bless every one of you. God bless America. In just a second, I have to sign off. I'm Alaska Prepper, and I am out. God bless.